clearly look to be 15 or so inches long. I can see the toes clearly. I can see the heel clearly. I think they're beautiful evidence that what he experienced that day was real.
From what I can see, the animal is hunched over and appears to have fur covering its entire body. So it could be something like a silverback gorilla.
From a father and son duo who dedicate their time and energy towards finding creatures that lurk around in the woods, to the frightening encounter of a man just taking a walk in the thick forest, here is how the Expedition Bigfoot crew fled after capturing terrifying Bigfoot footage. For as long as some people can remember, maybe even going as far back as before America became what it is today, there are many people that have been left amazed just because they decided to go for a walk in the forest one fateful day. That is because these people seem to run into the legendary cryptid we all know as Bigfoot at one point in time or the other. Can you actually imagine having an encounter with the legendary Bigfoot? That must be one of the most surreal experiences ever. In fact, it is considered to be so surreal that people's accounts of such encounters have been dismissed by the general public. Who could blame them, though? For as long as we can probably remember, the proof that this giant, hairy, bipedal monster of a creature has been controversial at best. If the accounts are too sketchy or unbelievable to be taken seriously,
some people devote their lives to the pursuit of the creature. While there's no conclusive proof Bigfoot exists, when some new evidence pops up, you can bet we're going to check it out.
The photo or video evidence used to assert the stance that this creature is wandering around somewhere in one of the many forests found all over the continent of North America have just lacked the quality needed to convince people. With that in mind, the world is still left confused, misinformed, and perhaps unaware of what the truth is when it comes to Bigfoot. Imagine a world where these assertions of the existence of Bigfoot turn out to be true. That would be wild, won't it? It makes us think about how the night gets much more nefarious as we wonder about what may be lurking around in the darkness. How far away are we really from creatures such as Bigfoot or other legendary beings whose existence we refuse to acknowledge due to either the lack of evidence of their existence or our ignorance in the face of the truth? The fascination with the legendary cryptid. Looking at the lore surrounding the legend that is Bigfoot, we find that despite how much people may want to dismiss its existence, people just seem to keep running into it in the wild. It makes you think of the state Washington, a place that has been acknowledged as the state with the most Bigfoot sightings ever. Apparently, there are 676 reported accounts of Bigfoot sightings. This is 200 times more than the state with the second highest number of Bigfoot sightings in America, i.e. California, with 445 Bigfoot sightings. This is just a few of the numbers that come into play when we realize that there have been more than 10,000 sightings of Bigfoot in recent times. This is probably due to the fact that many people love to spend their time enjoying the beauty of nature as they wander through these forests. As much as people love to enjoy the beauty and serenity that nature can offer, we must remember that nature is the home to some of the most extraordinary creatures that we could ever imagine. We're talking about mythical creatures such as mermaids, dragons, and unicorns. Such mythical creatures have been a huge feature in our culture, as they were part of the old tales and the folklore of many cultures for many centuries now. Alas, as time went on, and much of society leaned into the industrial and technological age, we found that these mythical creatures were forgotten by all. The world was just moving too fast for us to focus on these creatures, especially as our advancement seemed to come at the cost of eradicating the environment that these creatures thrived in.
Back there. I mean, that's awesome. You know, that point of interest that we discovered on the LiDAR map, it proved to be correct because as I was walking along this path, something just jumped out what appeared to be a deep impression. I've never found a footprint before.
As a result, such creatures must have been forced to reckon with the fact that there is little space for them on Earth. Despite the way these creatures have been erased out of their habitat, it appears that they have refused to totally disappear from the face of the earth. The legend of Bigfoot seems to be one of these myths that have refused to go away, especially in recent times when people have dedicated their time and efforts to finding the mysterious creature. Also known as Sasquatch, we can say that it must be general knowledge by now that the Bigfoot is one unbelievable-looking creature. At least according to the legends, Bigfoot has been described to be a large, hairy creature that has a strange resemblance to humans. It is also described as having made some of the deepest and remote forests in all of North America its home. As odd as this may seem, this isn't the strangest part when it comes to Bigfoot. The strangest part is that despite numerous sightings over the years, there is still a ton of mystery that surrounds this creature. As such, even the experts in the so-called pseudoscience of cryptozoology would tell you that they are not certain where to draw the line between reality and fiction or myth when it comes to Bigfoot. Considering how much we have been left in the dark when it comes to this truly fascinating being lurking in the middle of the forest somewhere in North America, it makes us wonder how many are drawn to its story. Could it be the thrill of the search for the creature, or it is the mystery surrounding it? Whatever the case may be, what is clear is that the search for Bigfoot helps many people challenge what they know about the world. It also encourages us to look beyond what seems to be known so that we can finally learn the truth. As profound as that may be, this is not all there is to it when it comes to the search for Bigfoot. Although it would be such a big deal to finally prove that Bigfoot is real and does exist, what may be even more exciting about bringing this mystery to an end is the chance to help us as humans get a better understanding of our place in the universe. Already, it makes us think about life forms that may never have come to mind before setting off on the search for the fabled cryptid. Off the bat, think about how it may help us complete our genetic family tree. The possibilities seem endless, especially if we can somehow figure out the truth about what may be existing with us on this planet.
It just seems like human size. It seems to have regular arms too. Bigfoot arms are supposed to be longer, like gorillas and chimpanzees. I don't think there's anything here to suggest that it is Bigfoot.
With that in mind, the search for the truth when it comes to Bigfoot will always drive those interested deeper and deeper into the woods found in North America. As such, when enthusiasts embark on such a journey, the world as a whole benefits as it helps us learn about these mythical creatures that we may have forgotten about for some time now. In turn, it may even help reignite our curiosity about the world as whole. At the very least, the search for Bigfoot has led to some sort of movement as it has become part of the culture in countries such as the United States and Canada. This is why you'd find so many witnesses who are eager to tell the world about their incredible encounter with the legendary cryptid. Alas, despite all these encounters and the many stories that have been circulated in respect of Bigfoot, you'd find that the majority of the population dismiss its very existence. Even in the face of some persuadable evidence, they turn their nose up as they will not be deceived by some blurry image or video. No, they will not be sold on some strange footprints as well. That said, the doubts have not been strong enough to kill the legend of Bigfoot. In fact, with the advent of modern technology, it seems to be growing stronger by the minute as people do their best to use modern-day equipment to track the mythical creature down. One of the people that seem to be as enthusiastic as ever when it comes to the search for Bigfoot is Tony Harris. As the host of The Truth Is Out There, Tony has shown that he is one that loves to carry out investigations into the strange and unknown. There's a ghost in that castle? Why don't we go have a look? UFOs have been abducting people in New Mexico, you say. Why don't we see if we can get down there today? With such investigative adventures under his belt, it is clear that Tony is one who loves exploring the unknown. With him and his team working hard to carry out such an investigation, they do come up with results or new evidence that may help them solve their most fascinating mysteries.
For decades, researchers have been trying to communicate with Bigfoot. But have you ever wondered who he is trying to communicate with?
With such an approach to life, it seems as though Tony is able to surpass some of his fellow Bigfoot enthusiasts thanks to the passion that he has for the game. As such, he is always able to find what others may have missed. At least, that is how we think he found Stacy Brown Jr., a hard-working researcher and filmmaker from Crawfordville, Florida. Fascinated by the unknown, ever since he was a little boy thanks to the stories that he heard from his father, he has been going on many Bigfoot and UFO expeditions with his father ever since he was a little boy. As much as some people thought these were just boys being boys messing around in the woods, you'd find that Stacy and his father were actually out there to see if they could figure out if these stories were really true. That said, the thrill of finding Bigfoot was nowhere as great as the chance that Stacy had to bond with his dad as they made these trips into the woods. With such a bond in place, Stacy grew into a young man who had a funny way about translating these stories when he heard them. The more of these stories he heard, the more he came to believe that the world was way stranger than he ever thought it was. With that in mind, You can see how he became so captivated by the mystery of Bigfoot. After all, there's really no way that you can differentiate fact from fiction when it comes to the legend of this fascinating creature. That said, the stories with Bigfoot never stopped coming.
I literally lived in the woods, and so I felt my knowledge of, wildlife and just how the forest works really was going to help me along in my journey.
They also became anecdotal as people mixed their own personal experiences in the stories. As such, as we learn more about this creature, we learn that it is much more than the search for a mysterious creature hiding in the woods. No, it is actually about learning more about our innate need to connect with the mysteries of the world around us. Thinking about it now, there is no way that you can be a Bigfoot enthusiast without having an inclination to question the nature of the world as we know it. It may finally help many of us come to terms with the fact that we may never get a full understanding of this world that we call our home. With such thought and sentiments coming into play, it is clear that a search for Bigfoot is indeed more than revealing the creature to the world. It is actually about showing the world how to understand our place on this beautiful planet. With such sentiments in mind, it is clear that Stacy and his father were hoping to achieve both the revelation of Bigfoot and a better understanding of the world as they made their way through the woods. With that, the father-son pair took their trip into the forest, fully acknowledging that they were stepping into a world where fact and fiction is blurred forever. With any luck, they may actually help us discover the creatures that are lurking in the darkness of these woods. Shocking encounter. As time went on, Stacy and his dad would indeed dive deeper into the woods every time they made their way there. It was during one of such trips that the father-son pair had a shocking encounter. Although the forest was where Stacy went to so that he could have some peace, all that would change during this encounter. Sure, this was where he would learn to track animals as well as other survival skills, but nothing will prepare him for that fateful day in the middle of the woods. Back in 2012, Stacy would find himself in a state of shock when he and his father eventually realized that they were not alone in the woods. This must have been annoying and frightening for both men, as they had forgotten their brand new thermal camera back home. Sure, they had to make do with their regular camera, but this would be a blessing in disguise, as even Stacy is not sure he would be able to handle himself the way his father did when the camera eventually stopped working. Even that was still eerie enough, because when the camera died, they lost the only source of light that they had within range. What's even eerier about the situation is that even though their flashlights were somewhat nearby, Stacy's dad didn't ask him for them. Instead, he asked him something that he had never asked him in his life. "Are you armed?" Good God! Such fright in his father's voice, something that he said he had never heard before, put the fear of God in Stacy when he realized how dire the situation was.
He's like, we gotta go. He's like, do you got your gun? And my dad was a retired Army Ranger, and I'd never heard him tell me to get my gun unless there was a reason. I knew stuff had got serious then.
As bad as this wasn't the worst of it. The pair will come to realize that there were a lot more Bigfoot doubters out there, because nobody seemed to believe them when they told them of their encounter. Despite such doubt, Stacy would not allow these doubters to force him to deny what he saw. In fact, he was now more certain than ever. Bigfoot does exist. Looking to prove this to be true, Stacy and his father decided that they were going to return to the woods so that they could track the legendary cryptid down. This time, however, they decided to go into a forest that was well known for encounters with Bigfoot. This was easier said than done, though, as these woods were one of the most hostile ones that you could find in North America. Not only was it freezing, it was also eerily silent, almost as though the scene was actually set for them to have another massive encounter with Bigfoot. Regardless of the inhospitable nature of these woods, the father and the son would find that their trip was not in vain, as they would actually get footage of a creature that they believed to be Bigfoot in said woods. As amazing as this was, this would prove to be just the beginning when it came to their strange experience in these woods. Apparently, when he recorded the footage that they got in the woods, Stacy was driven further to learn more about this legendary creature. Feeling both scared and excited, he knew he had to buck up, because he could actually be on the verge of bringing the mystery of Bigfoot to an end once and for all. This was huge for Stacy. At that point in time, the legend of Bigfoot was not a story anymore. No, it was real life now, as it looked like he was actually on the verge of exposing Bigfoot to the world.
They've been feeding the Bigfoots up, and they've stopped the food, so now the Bigfoots are coming up to the house. They've got some audio recordings, which are really, really interesting. I found some tracks. I'm going to go show you here in a little bit. I'm going to go back and cast them. I kept tracking the animal. They don't look to be too big, but it could be one of the juveniles.
With the hopes of actually finding real answers, Stacy continued to make his way deeper into the forest, hoping that he could actually bring an end to this mystery once and for all. Sure, he could have been satisfied with the evidence that they already had, but he knew that he would have to go further than ever before. Alas, this did not necessarily work out, as he may have lost track of the creature in the woods. Hoping to get some more answers, Stacy decided to get in contact with Cliff Barackman, a Bigfoot researcher with a great reputation in the field, thanks to the many years that he had dedicated to the cause. Once the pair got in contact with one another, Stacy shared the recording he got from the woods with Barackman, in the hopes that he could get some much-needed information on what he just saw. Return to the woods. Looking at the footage, Barackman seemed convinced that Stacy and his dad needed to return to the woods. As exciting as this must have been for the pair, they didn't seem too keen to go back in the woods. Sure, they may have an expert on their side this time, but this didn't seem to calm their unsettled spirits. Despite such hesitance, Barackman was not dissuaded. On the other hand, he seemed to be really excited at this opportunity to get a deeper look into what could prove to be Bigfoot. He had already set up a detailed plan to search for the legendary creature in the area. At the very least, this will help the team get some much-needed evidence that may finally help them show the world that Bigfoot is real.
I knew exactly what we had on camera, and somebody needed to look into this thing. And it couldn't be us. It had to be somebody that had no skin in the game, no horse in the race.
As the group got into the woods, Stacy and his dad began to calm down somewhat. They realized that they were working with a professional, and as such, they were actually in safe hands. Although this was a good sign, this also helped them realize how serious this Bigfoot sighting had become. There was no messing around now, and as such, they had to be ready for anything. This proved to be true when something strange occurred during their expedition. As they got deeper into the woods, the group realized that this was truly an odd day for the search for Bigfoot. You see, some miles away, a man named Doug Teague was just enjoying a day in the woods when he realized that he was not alone in the woods. Startled, Doug whipped out his phone so that he could record what was going on out there. Alas, the video was not so clear, so all we got to see was a dark figure in the recording. This made the entire experience even more frightening. Looking for answers, Doug decided to upload the footage on the internet. Although he described the creature to be tall and hairy, perhaps like a gorilla, there wasn't much that he could do about the quality of the grainy video that he uploaded on the internet. With people looking at the outline of the creature in the grainy video, less people began to think that this was a gorilla, with more of them suspecting that this may have actually been Bigfoot.
From what I can see, the animal is hunched over and appears to have fur covering its entire body. So it could be something like a silverback gorilla that sits in that posture.
Funny enough, this isn't the end of the strange encounter. Following this encounter in the woods, Doug reported that he began to witness some strange things that were happening to him. The first thing that occurred was that he started to hear some strange sounds. Thinking nothing of it, he reckoned that it was probably a woodpecker. However, all that changed when a massive rock was hurled in his direction. Insane, right? The entire thing caused an uproar on the internet, with people once again debating if Doug really had an encounter with Bigfoot, or if he was just one of the characters in one of the many hoaxes people play when they try to prove that Bigfoot is real. All it did was add another chapter to the mystery that is Bigfoot. Even though Doug would later testify that he heard some more strange noises as he made his way out of the woods, he would never really be able to convince many that this was an encounter with Bigfoot. Hopefully, someone will have a good camera with them when they come across the legendary creature that is Bigfoot. The perfect spot, high ground, and hidden trails. The journey into the wilderness begins in a seemingly unremarkable spot. To the untrained eye, it might appear like any other piece of the vast landscape, but for those who understand the language of the forest, it is the perfect vantage point. The team has chosen high ground.
Man, this is perfect.
A strategic location that offers a sweeping view of the surrounding area. From this position, they can see everything, while remaining concealed from whatever might be lurking in the dense undergrowth below. This high ground isn't just a random choice. It's a position that any creature, be it predator or prey, would instinctively seek. The team's researcher understands the importance of such a location. The trees and dense brush below create a natural cover, but this elevated spot gives them a perspective that few creatures can afford to miss. It's the kind of place where a creature like Bigfoot would likely position itself to remain unseen while keeping watch over its surroundings. As they scan the area, the landscape reveals more than just a view. It uncovers hidden pathways that animals use to navigate the forest. There's a particular trail that catches the researcher's eye. It's not a well-maintained path or a route that's been recently traveled by humans. The growth along the trail speaks volumes. You can tell it's a place that has been undisturbed for a long time, allowing nature to take over and weave its way through the forest. But it's not just the trail itself that makes this spot so perfect. It's the surrounding environment that amplifies its significance. Beneath the thick layers of leaves and vines, a hidden world flourishes. The forest may seem quiet at first glance, but beneath its canopy, a complex ecosystem thrives. One of the most prominent elements in this ecosystem is kudzu.
You see that old trail over there? How all grown over that is? If you look down into this valley, there's a plant called kudzu.
A vine that has become notorious for its rapid, unchecked growth. Once introduced from Japan in the late 1800s, kudzu has since dominated the southeastern United States, creeping up trees, covering the ground, and enveloping everything in its path. Its vines stretch out across the forest floor, thick and sprawling, creating a dense undergrowth that is nearly impossible to navigate through without effort. While kudzu is often seen as a nuisance by humans due to its aggressive growth, it plays a crucial role in the forest's ecosystem. Beneath the tangled vines, a world of activity exists. Deer, elk, and smaller creatures use these dense patches as cover, moving through them unseen and undisturbed. For them, the kudzu is a shield, a place to rest, to forage, and to travel without the risk of being spotted by predators. For a creature like Bigfoot, the kudzu provides the perfect environment for concealment. It's a place where the creature could easily slip through unnoticed, blending into the surrounding vegetation, using the thick vines as both cover and camouflage. In this way, the research team has positioned themselves in the perfect spot. The perfect location, combined with the advanced technology of thermal cameras, sets the stage for the search. The team is ready to scan the area for any heat signatures, to track the movements of any animals or potential creatures that might be living in the shadows, hidden by the forest's natural cover. What they don't realize yet is that they are standing on the edge of a breakthrough, a moment where the mysteries of the forest could finally reveal themselves. But until then, all they can do is wait, watching the forest below from their perfect vantage point, hoping to catch the slightest hint of movement in the wilderness. The search begins, thermal cameras in action. The plan is straightforward, yet brilliant. Equipped with the latest in thermal imaging technology, the team's mission is to scan the vast expanse of the forest in search of anything that stands out, anything that gives off heat, disrupting the otherwise uniform temperature of the wilderness.
So my idea, anything that puts off a heat trace against this background temperature will show up on my thermals.
Thermal cameras, highly sensitive to even the smallest differences in temperature, are perfect for this task. They have the power to detect the faintest heat signature, enabling the team to spot animals, people, or potentially the elusive creature they've been tracking, Bigfoot. These thermal cameras are not just ordinary devices, they are sophisticated tools designed to peer into the hidden world of the forest, revealing what the naked eye cannot see. The forest hides much of its inhabitants from view, but through the lens of these cameras, even the slightest change in heat becomes visible. A warm body moving through the cold forest becomes a glaring signal on the thermal screen, standing out against the cool, static background of the forest. As the team begins their search, the thick canopy overhead seems to be holding its breath. The surrounding woods are quiet. The distant sounds of wildlife are faint, barely audible. The forest, usually bustling with activity, seems unusually calm, as though something is watching, waiting. Every rustle of the leaves, every movement in the underbrush feels amplified as the team carefully scans their surroundings, hoping to catch a glimpse of something out of place. The thermal cameras hum softly in the background as the team shifts through the area, methodically searching for any anomaly. Time stretches on, slow and heavy, as they watch the screen, eyes locked on the shifting heat patterns. But nothing out of the ordinary appears, just the usual warmth of animals moving through the forest, the flicker of life that comes with the territory. Yet, the team knows that at any moment, something could appear, something that isn't quite right, something that doesn't belong. It's a tense wait. The team remains on edge, knowing that the search could yield results at any time. Their strategy is simple: stay patient, stay quiet, and wait. They understand that Bigfoot is no ordinary creature. It's elusive, careful, and intelligent, likely aware of its surroundings and the dangers of being spotted. The team's job is to remain unnoticed, to blend into the environment, and to wait for that crucial moment when a heat signature appears. This is no quick hunt. The hours drag on, the quiet forest pressing down on them, but the researchers know their chances of success depend on their persistence. Every small shift in the landscape, every change in the temperature around them, could be the clue they've been waiting for. A new lead, crossing the road. As the team continues their search, the silence of the forest is suddenly broken by the arrival of a new lead, one that promises to take them one step closer to uncovering the elusive creature they've been tracking. This lead comes from a local man, someone who has spent much of his life in these woods and knows the land, the wildlife, and the many stories that swirl around Bigfoot sightings. He's not just another curious bystander. He's a person who understands the rhythm of the forest, and his words carry weight.
You say you know of a place where Bigfoot is known to cross the road?
Yes.
The information he provides is unlike anything the team has encountered before. He directs them to a specific stretch of road, one that has become infamous in local lore for frequent Bigfoot crossings. Over the years, numerous locals have reported seeing large, strange figures darting across this stretch of road. Figures that seem to appear from nowhere, crossing the highway in a flash before disappearing back into the dense woods just as quickly as they came. These sightings aren't isolated events. They've become almost a pattern, a repetitive occurrence that the team can no longer dismiss as mere coincidence. The stories are fascinating. Over time, the team has heard whispers about Bigfoot sightings along remote roads like this one, but they've never had a concrete lead, until now. These encounters typically happen in the blink of an eye, often when someone is driving along a quiet, isolated stretch of road. A sudden flash of movement, a large figure crossing the road, and then, just as quickly, it vanishes into the darkness of the forest. The creature's swift and efficient movements leave little time for anyone to process what they've seen, and by the time the observer tries to process the moment, the creature is already gone, lost in the shadows of the wilderness. This pattern is hard to ignore. The team begins to piece together a theory. Perhaps Bigfoot is using the roads as natural pathways between two parts of its territory. The roads, often quiet and isolated, offer a route where the creature can move swiftly and undetected by most. There are no busy highways or bustling urban areas here, just long stretches of road, surrounded by thick forests, where a large creature like Bigfoot could travel unseen, crossing from one forested area to another without drawing the attention of anyone. The cover of darkness provides the perfect opportunity for such an elusive being to travel nigh across the land, without the threat of human discovery. The new lead adds an unexpected layer to the search, rekindling the team's hope. This stretch of road, the local man explains, falls squarely within the team's target zone, the area they've identified as a hotspot for Bigfoot activity. With this new direction in mind, the team begins to see the pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Not only do they have a specific location to investigate, but they also have a compelling reason to believe that this road might be where Bigfoot, the very creature they've been chasing, will finally reveal itself.
Thermal gives a really good hot heat trace, and you're able to find it right away.
The convergence of a known Bigfoot crossing path and the team's high-tech thermal cameras makes this the perfect opportunity to capture something extraordinary. The anticipation begins to build. The team's energy shifts from the quiet persistence of their previous efforts to an excited readiness for what's to come. This new lead gives them focus, and the possibility of encountering Bigfoot feels more tangible now than ever. They are no longer chasing rumors or hearsay. They have a specific location, a hotspot where others have already witnessed the creature crossing the road. The time for speculation is over. The team feels the surge of hope and determination as they prepare to take action. As they make their way toward the road, the landscape around them shifts. The dense forest begins to open up into a quiet, secluded stretch of road. The area is eerily still, with only the sounds of the night to break the silence. The headlights of their vehicle cut through the darkness, illuminating the road ahead, and the weight of the moment begins to sink in. This is it, the place where so many before them have claimed to see Bigfoot.
And Duncan has pointed us to a Bigfoot hotspot well within our target zone. That just tells me that our algorithm works, and we have a great chance for spotting Bigfoot.
The team knows that this is the location they've been waiting for. They set up their equipment with practiced precision. The thermal cameras are positioned to capture any movement across the road, scanning the surrounding woodline for any signs of life. The forest is dense around them, but the road offers a clear line of sight, the perfect vantage point for spotting a creature like Bigfoot as it crosses from one side to the other. There is nowhere for it to hide, and the team knows that if the creature is out there, they will catch a glimpse of it through their high-tech thermal lenses. The moment of truth is drawing near. As the team settles in, the quiet of the night presses in, and the minutes seem to stretch on forever. The anticipation is palpable. Every sound feels amplified. Every flicker of movement in the trees seems significant. The team scans the horizon, their eyes fixed on the thermal screen, waiting for that one fleeting moment when a heat signature will appear, when the warmth of a creature, large and out of place, will light up the screen. With every passing second, the hope of capturing Bigfoot grows stronger. They know that this could be the breakthrough they've been waiting for, the proof they need to confirm that the creature they've been chasing is real. Will this lead bring them closer to the truth? Or will it be yet another dead end in their long search for Bigfoot? The uncertainty is part of the thrill, part of the hunt. But with their thermal cameras ready and their focus sharper than ever, the team is more prepared than they've ever been to uncover the truth hidden in the dark corners of the forest. A glimpse through the thermal camera. The night in the dense forest is thick with the anticipation of what might emerge from the shadows. As the team continues their search, the thermal camera comes to life, flickering and humming softly as it sweeps across the darkened landscape. The screen glows brightly in the otherwise pitch-black environment, displaying a patchwork of heat signatures, each one representing the warm bodies of animals moving through the forest. The usual suspects appear first: elk grazing lazily in the distance, deer cautiously moving through the underbrush, and smaller creatures darting around in search of food or shelter. These animals are easily visible, their heat signatures clearly distinct, but there's nothing out of the ordinary, until suddenly the screen shifts. Without warning, something much larger appears on the thermal display. A figure materializes in the distance, standing out against the cool background of the forest, like a beacon. The size of the figure is immediately apparent. It's far bigger than any of the creatures the team has seen before.
Details where it's all at. Is it a bear? No, it's not a bear. It's not even moving like a bear. It looks like it's trying to close in on them.
As the image sharpens, it becomes clear that the creature is unlike anything they have encountered in their years of research. It's upright, bipedal, moving in a deliberate, calculated manner, completely unlike the movements of a bear, deer, or any other known creature that typically inhabits the area. This figure's movements are slow, purposeful, and with an air of intent, as if it's navigating the forest with a specific goal. The way it stalks through the underbrush suggests something more than mere curiosity. The creature is not just passing through, it's actively engaging with its surroundings, as though it's aware of its position in relation to the other animals in the area. The way it moves, calculated with deliberate steps, reminds the team of a predator, sizing up its environment and its potential prey. As the figure comes into view on the screen, the team falls into stunned silence. This is the moment they've been waiting for, yet no one speaks. All eyes are fixed on the thermal display as the creature inches closer to a group of elk grazing in the distance. The heat signature grows stronger, indicating the creature's proximity to its potential prey. The elk seem to sense the presence of something unusual. Their behavior shifts. They become more alert, their movements more cautious, their heads turning as if to check the surroundings, their instincts heightened by an invisible threat. But just as quickly as it appeared, the figure vanishes. The creature slips silently back into the thick, dense vegetation, disappearing from sight with uncanny speed. The elk, now fully aware of the presence of something strange in their midst, scatter, their peaceful grazing disrupted by the silent, unseen predator. In an instant, The forest returns to its usual quiet, but the team is left frozen in place, still trying to process what they just saw. For a fleeting moment, they had seen something extraordinary, a heat signature that defied explanation. The figure didn't move like any known animal. It didn't fit any pattern the team could identify. It was larger, its movements more deliberate, and its presence felt significant. But as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone, leaving only a faint trace of heat in the air. Was it Bigfoot? The team can't be sure. They've seen creatures in the forest before, but nothing like this. The heat signature was real, but the creature's swift disappearance raises more questions than answers. The elk, clearly disturbed by the presence of the figure, reacted in a way that suggested they knew they were being watched. Yet the creature had vanished without a trace, swallowed by the thick brush of the forest. It's a moment that leaves the team on edge, and the mystery deepens. Whatever they saw, it wasn't like anything they've encountered in the forest before. The figure's deliberate movements, the way it stalked its prey, the eerie stillness that followed, it all feels out of place. The forest is alive with creatures, but this was different. The roadside sighting, thermal footage, and unanswered questions. The search continues. The team moves on, heading toward a new location, the stretch of road that has become known for its frequent Bigfoot sightings. The area is quiet, isolated, far from the hustle and bustle of populated areas. Here, the forest looms heavy on both sides of the road, a dark and seemingly endless stretch of wilderness. With the thermal camera once again in hand, the team scans the woodline, looking for any heat signatures that might signal the presence of the creature they've been pursuing for so long. As they drive along the road, the camera flickers to life once again. On the screen, a heat signature appears, but this time it's much closer, only about 200 yards away. The figure is faint, a shadow at first, barely noticeable as it shifts across the screen. It's another fleeting moment, a brief flash of movement that appears and disappears so quickly, it's almost as if the creature is toying with them, staying just out of reach. The team reacts immediately, adjusting their position, hoping to catch another glimpse of whatever it is that has appeared in the darkness. The adrenaline begins to surge. This could be it. This could be the moment when they finally capture something extraordinary. With the spotlight shining into the night, the team positions their vehicle, hoping that the light will draw the creature back into view. The seconds tick by slowly as they wait, the silence of the road stretching on, broken only by the hum of the engine. But again, just as quickly as it had appeared, the creature vanishes. It disappears into the woods, leaving only the faintest trace of its heat signature behind. The team is left stunned, unsure of what they just saw. There's no clear explanation for the shadow they caught on the thermal camera. It could have been another animal, or it could have been something far more elusive. This second sighting is just as puzzling as the first. The team knows that the forest is full of life, elk, deer, and countless other creatures, but this figure moves differently. There's a fluidity to its movement, a certain grace that doesn't fit the usual patterns of forest creatures. The heat signature is undeniable, but the creature's rapid disappearance leaves the team with more questions than answers.
What we saw in that thermal could have been anything. As we know, this forest is teeming with life, but I don't know of any animal that moves quite like that did.
The creature may be hiding, playing a game of hide and seek with the team, appearing just long enough to get their hopes up before vanishing into the darkness once again. The night stretches on, and as the team continues their search, the memory of the thermal footage lingers. What did they see? Was it Bigfoot? Or was it something else, something they've yet to understand? The journey continues, the search for Bigfoot. The team knows that this isn't the end. It's only the beginning of a long and difficult journey into the heart of the Bigfoot mystery. The thermal footage captured during the night offers only a glimpse of what might be out there, lurking just beyond the reach of human eyes. But one thing is certain, the search is far from over. As the team reflects on what they've seen, they are more determined than ever to uncover the truth. The world may never know for sure whether Bigfoot exists, but as long as the mystery endures, there will always be those willing to search, to explore, and to follow the heat signatures through the shadows of the forest. The legend of Bigfoot lives on, and so does the hunt. The forest is waiting, its secrets hidden beneath the thick layers of trees and kudzu, ready to be uncovered by those brave enough to look. Will they find the truth? Only time will tell. But for now, the mystery remains, and the search continues.